Like with every trailer Nintendo releases, they don't tell us everything an update has to offer. They keep some stuff secret, but I don't like secrets. So I'm here to tell you everything in this new update that Nintendo didn't tell us. If you haven't heard Nintendo, big fat liars. We're getting a free update to New Horizons 4 years after they told us that we were never getting another free update to New Horizons. And we're also getting a Nintendo Switch 2 edition of the game. So let's start with that. The upgrade to New Horizons will only be $5, which is way less than I thought, honestly, with the prices of games nowadays and some of the prices of these Switch 2 upgrades. The improved graphics are confirmed to be 4K, however, you do need a 4K display to experience this upgrade. Otherwise, you're stuck at 1080 like the rest of us. If you only play handheld, you won't see a difference. And then also, we get mouse mode. This isn't really a secret, but I am very excited to see how good people are at drawing with mouse mode when we got stuff like this with control sticks. And then also placing furniture with mouse mode is just gonna be peak. The megaphone is coming back thanks to a mic on the Switch 2. It's helpful for very specific reasons, like if you're just trying to gift every villager and get every single photo, but who would do that? Or maybe you need to complete that Nook Mile goal, or I don't know, something. Hopefully this works when villagers are inside buildings as well, because that's honestly when they're really annoying to find. But I don't know. We're all just gonna look really dumb shouting at our Switches from across the living room. So I'm looking forward to that. And then arguably the best part of this upgrade, 12 people being on your island. Now, they do all need Nintendo Switch 2 edition of the game. So if they don't have that, you can't have 12 people on your island. And also, I'm pretty sure they're doing nothing to improve the internet connection. So if there's one person with garbage internet, it is going to ruin it for the other 11 people on the island. But it's alright, our Switch 2s have LAN ports, so plug it in. One thing I did like is the fact that they added extra seats to the roost so that all 12 people could drink coffee together. Nintendo thinks of the little things. I really appreciate that. Also, something to mention, if you are a user of Game Chat, I don't know how many are out there. I'm actually kind of curious how many people use Game Chat. Only 4 of the 12 people can actually share their screen. This isn't a huge deal, but it is something to keep in mind if you are a Game Chat user. Otherwise, just use Discord, buy a capture card from eBay from the thousands of people that started streaming and then quit over COVID. You could probably get one pretty cheap. All right, that is everything that comes with the Nintendo Switch 2 edition of New Horizons. It's up to you if it's worth the $5. I mean, for me personally, the megaphone is useful for the all photo villager thing that I'm doing. But also 12 people on my island is pretty worth it. But the meat and potatoes of this trailer was the 3.0 update that is included with the Switch 1 and Switch 2 version of the game. Free! Oh, Nintendo. Thank you. First up, we got a hotel. Someone in one of the chats asked if the hotel color changes depending on your airport color. I want to say probably not, but that would be a cool thing to think of. The theme for today is we're gonna have to wait and see, so my answer to this is we're gonna have to wait and see. Once you're inside of the hotel, there is a bunch of models of decoration in the hotel itself. Do not get your hopes up for us getting these items. We still have yet to get any of the items hanging around Nooks and Ables. So just because they are pictured here does not mean we will get them. However, they are all adorable. Look at this. Look at that. Look at this thing. Oh my god. And now, who are these strange creatures in the hotel? If you are new to the Animal Crossing universe, these are the other Kappas. They are Captain's family. They used to run Tortimer's Island in New Leaf where you could play all the mini games, and they kind of pretty much do the same thing that they do here. Leilani would welcome players to the building. Graham sold you items. In New Leaf, it was for medals that you earned via mini games, but here it's tickets that you earn via decorating and missions. And then there's Layla, who is a young kid that ripped you off by buying your items for 5% of their full value. We'll see if she still does this in this game, since Nook is kind of right down the road. Why would I sell to her if I can just go sell in Nook's cranny? But she might just be there for funsies. Although she does look older this time, so maybe she does something different. But she's coloring with crayons. Maybe she hasn't aged. Alright, so now what the hotel actually does. The hotel decorating activity is basically mini Happy Home Paradise, but we're rewarded with exclusive furniture items. This is definitely worth your time if you want all the new things, or maybe you didn't get Happy Home Paradise and now you are getting kind of it for free. We do see some of these new items in these decorated rooms, like the hotel towel rack, this bed, lamp, partition, side table thing. There's a lot of items kind of sprinkled in. The trailer didn't go over exactly how this whole thing works. It just showed that we could decorate a hotel room and then move a villager in. In Happy Home Paradise, you make a room based on requirements set to us by villagers. But now that the villagers move in after we've designed the room, I don't know. They're definitely themed, so maybe we just have to follow a theme for the most part. I hope they change it up from how it is in Happy Home Paradise, just to give us something a little different to do with this new feature. It doesn't look like this item selection window has the same required furniture notification that Happy Home Paradise had, so maybe it is different. I'm assuming we'll be able to use our mouse mode if you have Switch 2 edition while you're decorating this, hopefully. If not, what are we doing? And then we get a look at some of the items. I'm not going to list out everything. You can pause this if you want to read everything, which I'm sure you already have. But I will point out a few things that we saw. The mug, towel rack, pennant, snow globe. I'm assuming these are the Aloha shirts on the mannequins. If not, maybe there's something more reminiscent to the GameCube Aloha shirts that we had. The hotel tees are probably the uniforms that the Kappas are wearing. It looks like Layla is wearing the hotel bandana. We have an umbrella, a new plant, a suitcase, tubular shelves, artful bed, lamp, screen, and shelves, kitty car, wall clock. Oh, there's so many nice things. Label's room shows more of the tubular furniture if you wanted to see those. But these are all really nicely designed items. We're getting some unique things, and I very much appreciate it. I don't know if this is worth noting, but while we were flashing through different scenes in the hotel, the flowers in the shell are different. I don't know if it's on a different island, or if it's just like Isabel's flowers and it changes with the season. Maybe this place is based on the color of your airport, or maybe it's just randomly decided. There's also this box next to Graham's. Maybe it's just decoration. It's probably some Japanese reference I don't get because I'm American, but I'm curious if it has any functionality, and if it does, what it could be. I always like to pretend that Nintendo adds a bunch of secrets that they don't show us in trailers, but if it was anything really significant, they definitely would have mentioned it in the video. Oh hey, hi, Future Cora here. I googled it. Apparently, Kappas are known to love cucumbers, so this is just a reference to Kappas loving cucumbers, probably. Alright, continue. Next, we see Nook requesting us to craft furniture to earn more tickets, but then Nintendo did the sneakily sneaky sneak and snuck in multi-crafting, and they didn't even mention it. It just showed the new UI. Sneaky. And then you go on the website later, and they confirmed crafting from storage. Why don't you talk about this in the video? I guess this is kind of like, doesn't really matter to the casual player, and the non-casual people would probably pick up on it. But like, why are you just sneaking things we've been asking for years without talking about it? Rude. These ticket missions, I'm assuming refresh daily. But if you time travel, I guess not a big deal, you can grind out tickets that way. However, it has been like 4 years since we've gotten an update to this game. Chill out. Take your time, delicately eat the content with your tiny fancy fork. There is no mukbang here. Doing these daily requests seems to be the way that more villagers will hear about the hotel. I'm thinking that if you satisfy these requirements, that's what initiates a new villager showing up. Based on their dialogue, they're kind of showing us for Nook. But it turns out that these hotel visitors can also run around your island. It's like you have more neighbors without having more neighbors. But that just means you might have some unsavory villagers showing up to your hotel. I hope we can pick, because once I get barreled off my island, he's not allowed to come back. But I do like that they're kind of like the campsite visitors, but they're not just stuck in the campsite. They're not stuck in the hotel. They can come out. They can enjoy the fresh air. And then because we don't have enough of a hoarding problem, we can hold up to 9,000 items and hold trees, flowers, and bushes. Oh, Daddy Nintendo, thank you so much. I can finally clear my beaches and empty my pockets. I'm assuming they did this so that Rossetti could clean up our areas, including our trees and flowers, to throw into our storage. No more spending hours and dozens of shovels fixing your explosion of flowers. However, I am really afraid of this picking up the entire island option. Imagine accidentally clicking this and then everything is empty. I'm assuming they have a dialogue box that's like, are you sure? But just don't let your younger siblings touch Rossetti, okay? Hopefully Rossetti's service is linked to like an app on our phone, so we don't have to wait for him to show up in the rotation of special characters, because in the trailer he's just kind of like running around our island. Maybe that's just the first time we talk to him, like Harvey, and then he's just accessible whenever we want later. And then they talk about Slumber Islands and how we get 3 free empty new islands. This isn't quite the islands that some people were begging for. Many wanted each Switch profile to have their own island so they could each have their own game. But that's not how Animal Crossing was originally created and what the game is meant to be, so that's never going to happen. But I will take what they give us. This is a huge step in the correct direction. One feature they did hide here, the way we terraform. Look at this villager doing a little sidestep, a little hoppity hop. Ugh, look at it! We can finally easily terraform. No more questioning if you're going to choppy the right place. You'll choppy the correct spot. We can go 1 square at a time, side to side, back and forth. The quality of life in this new update is astounding. Again, another important, I guess not really casual feature they glossed right over. Now, the villagers that you can invite to these Slumber Islands, they seem to just be residents that are currently on your island. You can't grab new ones. However, many of you probably have noticed there are 6 empty slots in this box. This isn't enough for extra profiles on the Switch since you can have up to 8, so there would have to be 7 and not just 6. But I'm assuming these spots are empty because it probably just uses the same UI box as the furniture items and all these other tabs up top. So instead of changing the one villager tab, they just kept it the same size and shape as everything else. But did that make me stop and think for a second and get my hopes a little too high? Yes. But then I used logic and reasoning, and I put my hopes back down. Your friends can visit your Slumber Island to decorate by using their own furniture, not just yours. They can bring pockets full of their own furniture and decorate your Slumber Island. Maybe it's not pockets full of items. Actually, they probably just have access to this UI of just every single item you've ever owned, which would be super convenient. The trailer also shows this one villager in the background putting down custom designs. I'm assuming that they will be accessing your custom designs and not their own custom designs, because that would be crazy and would be a little too nice of a thing for Nintendo to do. But they can put down custom designs, which is fantastic. And then the other limitation I am seeing is through this whole thing, there was only 8 people on Slumber Island. I have thoughts. Are they just showing 8 people because they're showing that this is on the Switch 1, and if you have the Switch 1, you can't have 12 people, you can only have 8? Or are they only limiting it to 8 people because of the amount of processing power it's going to take for 8 people to be terraforming and putting down furniture at the same time? This is what I'm thinking. I think we'll have to wait and see how everything actually works. There's a lot of questions still. I'm keeping my hopes medium. Nintendo tends to add great mechanics, but then they just miss a step here and there that could really spruce up the activity. But I'll take what we can get at this point. Oh, we're so back. It turns out the Japanese website does confirm up to 12 players can meet on a dream island to decorate, so I guess you just need to all have the Nintendo Switch 2 edition to be able to do this. Excuse my baby in the background. Alright, Pascora, get back. Alright, back into the hotel, because that's just how this trailer goes. Talking to Grams, we can see a few different categories of items that she'll give us. All, which shows everything. This little gift box, which gifts? I don't know. Furniture, and then special. Special is where all the Nintendo consoles are. The fact that we can play the NES again. Oh, I'm so excited. I assumed this linked up to the games that we can already play on NSO apps because it requires a Nintendo Switch Online subscription to be able to play the console.
With an active Nintendo Switch Online membership, you can even play a select classic game on each system.
But they have worded it as a select classic game. I am unsure if that select classic game is just one per different kind of console. What if the Super Nintendo gives us F-Zero? And then it also gives us Donkey Kong Country. It won't. So okay, this NES gives us Ice Climbers. What if another one came back and gave us Zelda? And it was just RNG whenever you got an NES console from Grams. What game it gave you? I don't know. I'm assuming it's not. I'm thinking it's just one game per console and we're kind of SOL with how these consoles used to work back in the day. But hey, at least we got consoles that are playable. They heard us there. Okay, let's go through what games they are. The NES is Ice Climbers. The Game Boy, Dr. Mario. The Famicom, Klug Land. And now we go to Game Explain for the rest because they did it for me and I don't have to. The Super Famicom apparently is Panel de Pon, and then the SNES is F-Zero. And obviously there are other consoles that we don't see. You can definitely scroll down on this list, but those are just the ones we know. But a select classic game, really upsetting, not gonna lie. They could have at least connected it to the NSO virtual console games. That would have been fun. But we're getting something that a lot of us have been asking for a long time. I'll take it, whatever. Next, the trailer goes into the collaborations, and thank God we're getting more collaborations than just Mario and Sanrio. First up, the Lego items. These are great. The color customizations make this fantastic. It's unclear if this arcade machine is playable. If it is, it's a game called Space Blaster. Probably fake. Couldn't find any information on it. Maybe someone out there did if it's real. They do, however, show us pretty much all of the Lego stuff, including a flooring that wasn't listed in the selection menu of the different Lego furniture. There might be more to scroll down to, but I am happy that we can make Lego items aesthetically pleasing to our aesthetic. And then we get Zelda. Oh boy, this furniture. Oh, it's so beautiful. You can pause to look at everything if you want, but I think this might be all of the Zelda furniture items. I hope there's more because I'm greedy and I would love more, but I do think right here is everything. I do want this ocarina to be usable like the one we already have in the game. Ever since we got that ocarina, I was convinced we were getting a Zelda crossover collab and it never happened. And now that we do, you better make the Ocarina of Time playable. I want to be Link/Zelda/Sheik whatever and play this thing. There's also beautiful outfits, beautiful wigs. I am so excited to just live my best Zelda life. Zelda is finally in Ikana and I'm here for it. Like in the past, we are getting crossover villagers that require amiibos. We aren't positive which ones, but we can take a guess. In New Leaf, you had to scan specific amiibos associated with the villager. So for example, you had to scan the Wolf Link amiibo to get the Wolf Link villager. So we are assuming that you need the specific amiibo for each of the new villagers. However, it seems like there are many different Zelda amiibo that you can scan to get the furniture items. If you want the villagers though, you're gonna have to shell out some money to Daddy Nintendo. The Tulin one was $10 off on Amazon, so maybe it still is by the time this video comes out. Who knows? This is a really long recording, and I have a child that requires attention. I'm obsessed with the fairy in the bottle and the princess flower. They're so pretty, and of course the villagers are gorgeous too, and I'm just overwhelmed. And then we see the same thing with Splatoon, a bunch of cool items, an Animal Crossing Splatfest, which will 100% happen, definitely, for sure. We can see most of the items that are listed in the menu selection. Again, maybe there's more, probably not. I do hope the jukebox works to either play Splatoon songs or maybe just as a regular stereo in the game, which it probably does that, but it looks really cool. I thought we were severely lacking on Salmon Run items though, and then I saw the golden egg, and then there's like a small fry headband too. They really went all out with these items. They put in the work. CC and Viche return. Unconfirmed which amiibos you need. Most likely you'll need Fry and Shiver though, since they look like Fry and Shiver. And if you're new, these used to look like Callie and Marie, but now that we're on Splatoon 3 and not Splatoon 1, they're Shiver and Fry. R.I.P. Big Man, you are now a couch. The end of the trailer shows a new plant, which is very pretty. Also at the end of the trailer, there's this one screen that shows the hotel UI. We see standard rooms, but then there's also a sparkly door that could be deluxe rooms, or maybe they're suites, so it's like our house where it's the main room, but then there's additional rooms off of it, or maybe it's roommates and it's like Happy Home Paradise and you're decorating like an extra big room for 2 different ways. I don't know. It's clear there are things Nintendo isn't telling us, but I do think we are seeing the bulk of the new content. These are the big main features. I don't think there's anything huge that they're hiding. Just little details like what's behind the sparkly door or like bulk crafting. Such a tiny addition. Overall, this is an amazing update. All this stuff is completely free with the exception of obviously the Switch 2 upgrade stuff of like the 12 people visiting your island and the 4K and the megaphone. Nintendo keeps winning and we keep reaping the benefits. Oh, we're so back. I am scared at how long it's going to take for a new Animal Crossing to come out if Nintendo is so willingly giving us such an amazing update. What I'm thinking is that they've been working on the next Animal Crossing since it's been, at this point, 5.5 years since New Horizons came out. They've got to be working on the next one. New Horizons was the second best-selling Switch game, so a new one is coming eventually. What I think is they were working on the Switch 2 new Animal Crossing. Things were taking way too long, and they took a few people, threw them on this update, and told them to give us stuff to chill us out for a bit. It's also a good business decision to get as many people to maybe buy a Switch 2. If you get a new update and a Switch 2 upgrade, you can play your favorite game on the Switch 2, and there's some new stuff to do. So I get where it makes sense there. But yeah, we're gonna be waiting a little bit for a new Animal Crossing. I was really hoping that new Animal Crossing was gonna be the thing to get people to buy a Switch 2, but Then Nintendo had different thoughts, I guess. What features did you find hidden in the trailer? Let me know down below. Subscribe or your entire island will sink to the seafloor and you will never be able to play the 3.0 update. And I'll see you next time. Bye!